You didn't arrive here by accident. This video didn't appear in your life through distraction or coincidence. It came because, on a deep level, you're ready. Ready to remember who you are. Ready to manifest a new reality, not through blind effort or impulsive desire, but through awareness, presence, and inner truth. Most people live on autopilot, trying to change the world around them without ever shifting what resonates within. But you heard the call, and that's exactly why you're here now. In the next few minutes, you'll access an understanding that could reshape your entire life, if you're willing to align with it. Manifestation isn't an external event. It's a faithful reflection of what you hold daily in the invisible. If you're ready to live this, comment below. I am aligned with the reality I choose to live. Jacobo Grinberg was a Mexican neuroscientist who dedicated his life to investigating what few had the courage to explore: how consciousness shapes reality. Rather than treating the brain as merely a biological machine, he sought to understand the link between mind, perception, and creation. And the results of his research challenge everything we consider normal about life. His neuronal field theory suggests that the world we perceive isn't fixed, but is a projection of our inner state. In other words, you don't live what you want, you live what you vibrate. This view connects with principles now confirmed by modern neuroscience and quantum physics. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs activate mental filters that determine what we see, what we feel, and above all, what we manifest. By grasping this, you gain a key, not to control the external world, but to transform the world born inside you each day. The true power of manifestation lies in coherence between what you think, feel, speak, and do. And that is exactly what you're about to access. You may think you clicked on this video out of curiosity, but deep down, you know it wasn't that simple. There is a precise moment in everyone's life when distractions lose their grip and a new question arises. Is there something more? That moment doesn't happen by chance. It marks the beginning of a silent awakening, the point where the soul starts to stir before the mind even understands what's happening. If you've made it this far, it's because that movement has already begun within you. Maybe you're not certain what you want yet, maybe doubts still surround you, but something has shifted, and the clearest proof is that you're seeking clarity. You're starting to see that there's a pattern behind your experiences, that your thoughts aren't neutral, and that your feelings are quietly constructing everything that happens around you. This awakening isn't grand, noisy, or full of lights. It's subtle, almost imperceptible. Sometimes it comes as the fatigue of repeating the same mistakes. Other times, as an inexplicable urge to change, even if you don't know where to start. But it always brings one certainty: life can't be just this. The truth is, you've already gone through phases, challenges, and situations that shaped you. You've tried everything, followed advice, read books, did as you were told, and yet something still felt missing. That's because no external technique can replace a movement that only happens from the inside out. And that movement has already begun. This content appears in your life when you're ready to hear something you wouldn't have heard before, when the noise of the world loses strength and your own voice begins to echo more clearly. You start to realize that what looked like coincidence was actually synchronicity. What seemed like delay was preparation. What felt like pain was transformation. What's about to be revealed to you only manifests when the soul truly demands change, not out of urgency to flee from something, but out of the courage to move towards something greater. From now on, every word, every reflection that touches your heart will act as confirmation. You are ready. Not ready in the sense of having all the answers, but ready in the only sense that matters, willing to act with awareness, take responsibility, and choose growth. And that alone changes everything. Many still believe that manifesting only activates when you consciously wish for a new house, a relationship, or financial change. But that's a dangerous illusion. The truth is, you're manifesting all the time, even when you're not trying. What you live today, Your victories, your obstacles, your reality is a direct fruit of what you've been nurturing internally, day after day. There is no pause in the creative process. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your words emit a constant frequency, and that frequency becomes reality. The problem is that most of the time, this creation happens unconsciously. You manifest fear and call it protection. You manifest scarcity and call it being realistic. You manifest repetition and call it bad luck. Think about it. How many times do you tell yourself phrases like, "Nothing ever works out for me," "I'm not good enough," or "This isn't for people like me"? You might not notice, but those phrases are vibrational decrees. It doesn't matter if you said them without thinking. The universe doesn't respond to your conscious intention. It responds to your emotional frequency combined with the consistency of what you repeat. You can pray beautifully in the morning, but if you spend the rest of the day complaining, self-sabotaging, and comparing yourself to others, you're not manifesting the prayer. You're manifesting inconsistency. The prayer becomes noise because your dominant vibration is elsewhere. True manifestation doesn't depend solely on what you want, but on what you sustain. If your mind asks for growth, but your heart is stuck in fear of the new, you enter a vibrational conflict. If you say you want abundance, but feel guilty whenever you think of thriving, your energy repels what your mouth asks for. This is why so many people say, "I tried everything but nothing changed." They were trying with effort, but vibrating in scarcity. The most important point here is to understand that you don't need to learn how to manifest. You need to learn how to manifest consciously, because you're already creating every day. Your routine is the faithful reflection of what you've been nurturing internally. The repetition of thoughts, feelings, and reactions builds your vibrational field. And this field acts like a magnet, attracting situations that confirm what you already believe. The good news is, if you're manifesting without awareness, you can also learn to adjust this process to create something new, intentional, and true. And it all starts with a simple step: honestly observing what you're saying, feeling, and sustaining, not only when you ask, but especially when you're not paying attention. The biggest mistake that hinders real manifestation doesn't lie in a lack of desire, but in a lack of internal readiness to sustain what's asked for. Most people want to change their lives, but continue thinking, feeling, and acting as if they still live the old reality. They pray for transformation, but behave as if nothing will change. That isn't faith, it's habit, and habits don't move heavens. Manifesting isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of integral alignment. And that alignment begins when you understand that what you ask for needs coherence between mind, heart, and action. If these three forces point in different directions, manifestation stalls, not as punishment, but as protection. Life won't deliver what would hurt you for lack of structure to receive it. The mind thinks, the heart feels, the body acts, and all three need to be tuned to what you want to live. If your mind declares, "I want to grow," but your heart still feels guilty about prospering, and your actions remain bound by fear of failure, the result will be confusion, instability, and frustration. That's why the first step of true preparation isn't chasing more techniques, but turning inward and asking yourself sincerely, am I prepared to sustain what I ask for? This question doesn't come from doubt. It comes from spiritual maturity. Because wanting something is easy, but being someone capable of carrying it with balance and consistency is what separates desire from achievement. Preparing in this context means putting order in the invisible. It means beginning to treat what you desire as responsibility, not just a distant dream. Want more peace? Then learn to cultivate inner silence. Want prosperity? Then manage your resources today, no matter how small. Want recognition? Then start acting with excellence, even when no one is watching. Conscious manifestation doesn't happen on stage. It's born behind the scenes. It's built in how you treat yourself, in how you talk about your life, in the care you put into details. What you do when no one's watching reveals whether you're truly prepared for what you say you want. And when that preparation begins, the universe responds, because creation vibrates with coherence. What is true inside inevitably finds form outside. So if you want to manifest a new reality, stop merely waiting for the right moment. Become the kind of person that this new scenario demands. This is the deepest, most honest, most transformative preparation there is. And it begins now. Many believe their life will be changed by an extraordinary event, a miracle, an unexpected opportunity, a single twist that changes everything at once. But that expectation hides an uncomfortable truth, the denial of one's own responsibility. Because the reality is that great destinies are shaped by small choices made every day. What you decide to feel upon waking, what you choose to repeat about yourself, how you treat those around you, the discipline you bring to things no one sees. All of this, summed and repeated, builds your vibration, and your vibration builds the life you will live. Often, you're not far from what you desire. You're just making daily decisions that sustain an opposite reality. Small habits that cancel out great prayers. Small concessions that silence big purposes. And when that happens, no matter how much you dream, your life remains trapped in the same cycle. Think of the choices you repeat in silence. Avoiding that necessary conversation, postponing self-care, holding on to self-deprecating thoughts, feeding old resentments. None of these actions seems grave on its own, but together they form a frequency, an energetic signature that determines not what you want, but what you're telling the universe you accept. True manifestation isn't what you visualize with intensity, but what you choose to sustain consistently, and consistency is built on habits. That's why so many have faith but bear no fruit, because they pray on Sunday and sabotage themselves on Monday, because they believe in miracles but keep sowing neglect, disorder, and fear. This isn't judgment, it's a warning. Your life is being written now, in the seemingly ordinary choices you repeat every day, and each choice is an opportunity to confirm an old cycle or to start a new reality. You don't need to change everything at once, but you need to start saying yes with more truth and no with more courage. Choosing to change isn't just thinking differently, it's acting differently even when the old pattern still calls. It's getting out of bed and refusing to negotiate with discouragement. It's treating your time with respect, even when no one is watching. It's caring for what you have, as if you already understand you're being prepared for something greater. Because ultimately, manifestation doesn't happen in the future. It happens in the present, in the micro choices that build the new version of you. And when those decisions begin to align with what you want to live, the invisible responds, not as a reward, but as a consequence. How many times have you asked for a sign, a push from the universe, a clear confirmation that you're on the right path? Everyone, at some point, looks to the sky and asks, is this really what I'm meant to do? What few realize is that the true sign doesn't come from outside. It's born when you decide to act on what you already know inside. You don't need more answers. You need the courage to live the answers you've already received. What resonated in your heart, what moved you, what awakened you, that was already the sign. Now, the next step doesn't depend on the universe. It depends on you. Waiting for the perfect moment is often the most disguised excuse for insecurity, because acting requires commitment, and commitment is uncomfortable. It demands abandoning the role of one who waits and taking on the role of one who decides. But it's at that point that real transformation begins. When you understand that you no longer need permission to become who you were called to be, you already know you're ready. The feeling that there's something more no longer lets you live as before. You notice patterns, see repetitions, feel the call to something deeper. And that doesn't happen by chance. That awareness is the door, but only those who act will walk through it. Acting as someone who already understands doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means moving forward even with doubts, speaking with more truth, even with fear, caring for your energy as someone who understands it shapes everything. It means stopping the search for signs and becoming the sign yourself. Your clarity, your consistency, your presence, these begin to influence your environment, the people, the circumstances. Because someone who lives with purpose doesn't need to shout. Their life begins to respond on its own. And perhaps the greatest revelation here is this: you don't need to wait for anything else. You've already been touched. You already know what to do. Even if details are still missing, even if the path seems long, the first step is clear. Live with coherence. The world changes when you change. True manifestation doesn't happen when the universe adapts to your requests. It happens when you align with what's always been available, but which you now have the structure to sustain. You ask for a sign. This is the sign. Now it's your turn to act as someone who understands, not tomorrow, not when everything is perfect. Now, after everything you've heard, one thing should be clear. Manifesting isn't about doing more. It's about being more conscious. It's not about memorizing phrases or expecting immediate results, but about living each day with presence, responsibility, and intention. Conscious manifestation happens when your mind, your speech, and your actions harmonize with what you want to live. And for that, you don't need a complex ritual. You need a simple practice done with truth. Here is a structure you can apply every day to align your vibration and transform your reality with consistency. Intentional silence, 2 minutes. First, stop everything. No phone, no distractions. Sit down, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Let your thoughts pass by without grabbing onto any. This clears your inner field and creates space for something new. This silence is like fertile soil. Nothing grows in the noise of excess. Alignment. Phrase with presence. Choose a short phrase that represents what you want to sustain, not just what you desire to achieve. For example, my life reflects the peace I cultivate. Everything I do carries purpose and clarity. I act as if I've already received what I've asked for. Repeat this phrase out loud 3 times, standing tall, eyes closed, breathing consciously. Feel the meaning of the phrase sink into your body, as if it's being planted into every cell. Intentional action, any simple task, but with presence. Now perform a simple action from your day with full awareness. It could be making the bed, preparing coffee, or walking to work. What matters isn't what you do, but how you do it. Act as if you're writing a new reality with every gesture, as if the universe is observing your intention behind each step. Word check. Throughout the day, notice what you say. If you catch yourself saying something that contradicts the life you want, like "this never works out, I can't," or "this isn't for me," pause, breathe, and rephrase it with truth, not as punishment, but as vibrational retraining. Nightly review with gratitude and direction. Before sleeping, close your eyes and ask yourself, did I live today in alignment with what I want to manifest? Don't judge yourself. Simply acknowledge. Give thanks for each step, however small. Then reaffirm silently, I am learning to live more consciously every day. This practice doesn't require much time. It only requires commitment to who you're becoming. And that commitment, when repeated, transforms everything. Now that you've made it here, understand, this wasn't just a video, it was a turning point. What you heard wasn't by chance. It was a calling, a confirmation that you're ready, not just to wish, but to live with more intention, clarity, and presence. From today on, you carry a new awareness, and with it comes the responsibility not to slip back into autopilot. Start small, but start with truth. Apply the daily practice. Watch your words. Honor your feelings. And above all, act as someone who already understands they're building their reality with each choice. If this content touched your heart, leave in the comments, I manifest with consciousness and truth. By doing so, you reinforce this vibration within yourself and help others awaken as well. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving messages like this, which strengthen your journey and transformation. Share this video with someone who needs to remember who they are. True manifestation begins when you decide to live with coherence, and that decision has already started now.